Get 50% off a subscription to IBJ and Inside Indiana Business. This Cyber Week only, get unlimited digital access and the award-winning IBJ newspaper at half off. Stay ahead with the stories, insights, and trends shaping Indiana business. But hurry, this deal ends December 5th at midnight. Visit ibj.com/cyberweek to get 50% off your subscription today.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. I'm Alex Brown. Employers throughout Northwest Indiana are continuing to face challenges in providing childcare support, according to a new analysis from the Northwest Indiana Forum Foundation. Grants Director Jennifer Gadzala says engaging employers will be a key element to addressing the issue.
Starting with helping them to realize the importance of their workforce and maintaining and retaining their workforce is crucial, and childcare has to be a part of that. Early education from the get-go is extremely important, and having quality and available childcare can provide young brains that opportunity.
The report shows just under 5,000 work-willing parents are unable to enter the full-time workforce due to a variety of barriers to childcare, with 42% citing the cost of childcare as the primary factor. Fort Wayne-based Steel Dynamics has acquired the remaining 55% ownership interest in New Process Steel, a Houston-based metal manufacturing and supply chain management company. Steel Dynamics previously acquired a 45% stake in the company in 2021. Financial terms of the deal were not disclosed. Indianapolis-based Keystone Cooperative has announced it will disperse more than $57 million to its members for the year, which includes 100% of member net profits. The Agriculture and Energy Cooperative said it will disperse a cash patronage amount of more than $46 million, about $6 million in equity, and an additional cash payout of more than $4 million in redeemed equity. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media podcast network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise at ibj.com to learn more.
Mudpuppy Palace, an educational, nature-based nonprofit in Mount Vernon, is offering explorative play for all ages in the Evansville region. The nonprofit uses a trailer dubbed Marty's Mobile Mudroom to visit various locations in the tri-state area. All of the experiences involve science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics activities based on nature. For schools, a venture is called a field flip because the field trip comes to the students. But Allison Williams and her co-founder Laura Kuhn are working to develop a brick-and-mortar location for Mudpuppy Palace in Posey County to serve a 30-mile radius.
We're really kind of targeting field trips and students that could get on a bus and come to us in a day and still get back to school. And that 30-mile radius includes over 87 public schools that house 40,000 students, and that's just public schools. And so you're not looking at parochial, private, adult programming, libraries, after-school programs, adult education. When you really think about the immense amount of people we could reach in just a year's time, it's incredible.
The campus will feature many components, including a STEAM lab, greenhouse, workshop space, and natural playscape, as well as gardens and animal encounters. In the future, Williams and Kuhn plan to start a capital campaign to raise money for construction, add staff at the permanent location, and keep Marty's Mobile Mudroom in service. The Hoosier congressional delegation, in a push led by U.S. Senator Todd Young, is urging the Federal Aviation Administration to name Indiana as one of 2 new national drone test sites. In a Monday letter to the federal agency, all 9 of Indiana's representatives and both senators expressed support for a bid from the Indiana Economic Development Corporation and the Applied Research Institute as the FAA expands its unmanned aircraft system test site program. If selected, Indiana supporters say the designation would open opportunities for universities and manufacturers in the state to develop cutting-edge drone technologies. Indianapolis-based Eli Lilly and Company is working to address the stigma of obesity through a new campaign. The Changing the Thread collection features real patient clothing embroidered with their personal stories, suggesting some people with obesity hide behind their clothing as they bear the burden of that bias. Lilly Associate Vice President Dr. Claire Lee.
They may not be able to really even engage in a conversation and really bring it up to their providers because they have an internalized bias thinking, this is just my fault. I'm not worth it. Right. So, how devastating is that, right? When you are not able to really have the courage to really bring up the topic that you rightly deserve.
Lilly partnered with Queer Eye star Tan France for the project, which also spotlights the company's GLP-1 blockbuster, Zepbound. IndyCar legend Tony Kanaan is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports and entertainment, and beyond. Available now on the IBJ Media app or your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.
I'm Tiffany Souter, mom of four, wife, entrepreneur, and host of the Life of And podcast. For years, I built my life with brute force, a successful business, a growing family, and absolutely zero margin. I was tired, snappy, and felt constantly behind, and I was too afraid to admit it. Everything changed when I stopped trying to do more and started building systems that actually worked for my real life. If you too are craving more peace, more presence, and just more time for you, I'd love for you to join me on the Life of And. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast app or listen at ibjpodcast.com.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media podcast network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise@ibj.com to learn more.